Being raised in a Christian household means that you'll have a different selection of media accessible to you when you're growing up. For example, I have yet to watch or read anything related to the Harry Potter series. Thanks, Mom and Dad. What I did have growing up, however, I thought was way cooler. What I had was a Christian game show pilot that has virtually no information available whatsoever online. And no, I'm not talking about virtual memory, I've already covered that. What I am talking about is It's a God Thing.
It's a God thing.
The only backstory I have to cover this show comes from these two VHSs that I own. The first came from when I toured a TV station when I was like 10, so about a decade ago. And the second came from an eBay listing that I found about a year and a half to almost 2 years ago, and I knew I had to get it, so here it is. The pilot was hosted by Joe Manno, a pastor living in Orlando, Florida, and was also shot in Florida. If I had to guess when, it would probably be 1998 or 1999 due to the dates on the trademark filings for the logo. And as far as I'm aware, there was only ever one episode made, which again is on both of these VHSs. I have 3 questions I'd like to be answered by the end of this video. First, is It's a God Thing a good game show? Second, if it were to be aired on TV, would anyone actually watch it? Lastly, and most importantly, could a show with religious themes and potentially racist stereotypes even be allowed on the air today? Let's start by looking at the one episode we have. I'll be covering it briefly, but if you wish to watch the full thing for yourself, I uploaded a recording of it to my channel Unlisted with the link in the description below. And because I could talk about this pilot for hours, let's cover the basics really quickly and then dive a little bit deeper. 2 teams of 2 kids run through an obstacle course before playing a final game involving Bible trivia. Meanwhile, the host dons various characters to explain the game or different elements the kids will experience. Pretty simple, right? There's no way you can mess that up. Well, not to become cinema sins, but I do have a few small things to point out to you. Game shows are known to get into the action, into the games, fairly quickly, and It's a God Thing does, but not in typical game show fashion. The first time we ever see the host, outside of the whole "Where's Joe" bit that takes up several minutes in the intro, has him getting out of a helicopter and into the back of a military vehicle before spraying the kids in the audience with a super soaker, if you can call these kids standing behind these flags an audience. He then talks for a little bit, pies 2 kids in the face, and the show cuts to the first of several characters played by Joe. Julius Braverman teases the idea of an obstacle course before blowing up his office and playing a clip of him running through the course at a snail's pace. Real talk, this segment of Julius running through the obstacle course is nearly as long as it takes for either of the kids to finish their run. This is so slow, it could be much faster. That said, after the first contestant runs through the course, we get a look at the second and most worrying character, Chef Wong.
Oh, good afternoon! Everything's good today. Everybody help. Nobody in the field make a help. Today I want to talk about something.
Following that mess, the second contestant runs through the course before another cutaway to character number 3, Nicky the Numbers Man, which was simply a waste of time. It's not even funny. Let's just skip past this point. The times for both teams were revealed before we transition to the second and final game. This round has 1 team member in a scissor lift with a bucket of not quite water balloons to toss onto their teammate on the ground. How did they get to throw a balloon? Easy, by trying to answer a Bible trivia question. This seems like it's an easy round, no way they can mess this up, right? Well, they swap the host with Chef Wong and make it really difficult for the audience to understand the questions that he's saying. It's not impossible, you just have to actually pay attention. Nothing else matters at the end as the show ends uneventfully. You kind of have to take into consideration that this pilot was simply that, a pilot. It didn't have the same budget as a normal game show. It was shot outside, the set was loosely bordered by these flags held up against cones. It's not to the same production value as a full-fledged game show. Pilots are simply made to try and pitch the idea, pitch the concept to a network to get picked up, then they can have the budget to go on and make these full productions, you know. Unfortunately, I don't think there was much content to begin with. The consensus I got from chatting with some of my friends in the live chat at my Twitch stream was that at the time the show was made, it was just passable. It was probably just good enough to try and send into a network to get picked up, maybe TBN, a fairly well-known Christian TV network, but probably not good enough to air nationally on some other network. In short, no, It's a God Thing is not a good game show. Time for question 2. If aired, would there be an audience to watch? Take a look at another Christian game show that aired around the same time period, Virtual Memory. It aired on the network I brought up earlier, TBN, for over 10 years. It had over 300 episodes made. This was a successful game show. It's a God Thing was shot in the late 90s, about a year to 2 years before Virtual Memory started production. And I would say, given the chance to run on TV around the same time period as Virtual Memory, it might have had a shot to get an audience. As for today, I'm not too sure. It's not like there's a vast array of other Christian game shows to overanalyze. The only other one that comes to mind is the Great American Bible Challenge, and while it did get nominated for 2 Emmys in the Outstanding Game Show category, it lost both times. So I guess you could answer yes, but with a couple catches. For the final question, could the show be aired today? That's gonna take some more work to answer. I think we can say without a doubt that the pilot could not air as is today without causing a lot of people to look at the pilot and go, huh, those are some questionable actions the host has made right there. Chef Wong. I mean, do I really need to explain why having an Asian character go by the name Chef Wong and then have his real name just be incomprehensible a bad idea?
Let me introduce myself, Chef Wong. Real name, Mr. Nobody can pronounce it, so we just tell him Chef Wong.
I understand that the whole point of the characters was to have Joe play each and every one of them, but you can't really do that safely anymore. And I'm not saying that it was good for them to do it back when this was shot. I'm just saying that it's not socially acceptable to do that anymore. One idea I brought up in my stream was that if Joe, the whole creator, the face of the show, was moved from in front of the camera to behind it into more of a production or a creative position, that the show might be passable today. Take out the time that was used by all those characters and add in a 3rd or maybe even 4th game, and you have a pretty good template for a Christian game show. No, It's God Thing could not be shown today, but that's not a bad thing. Networks don't want to take a risk on a show that they aren't fully sure will perform for them. And apparently, back in the 90s and early 2000s, no one wanted to take a risk on It's a God Thing. That doesn't mean the show is dead, it just means that it's not going to be shown to anyone anytime soon. Unless you go to the link in the description and watch it yourself. So what do you think? Do you think the changes that I brought up in this video could be used to make this production a reality? Or should it just be left to rot with the rest of forgotten media? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Isaac, signing off.